Okay. So what are all the built-in locators? The Playwright is provided a built-in locators, and these built-in locators are very, very powerful. As per the Playwright, first they are recommending use Playwright built-in locators methods. If it is not possible to use, then only switch to use either XPath or CSS selectors. That is what they are telling us. First preference is use built-in locators. Actually, it contains some 7 methods. So out of 7 methods, you can use any one of the method to identify the element. If it is not possible to use, then the second preference will go to the either XPath or CSS selectors. That is what they are telling us. See, what are all the built-in locators? And these are the recommended built-in locators. First preference, always give it to the built-in locators. Of course, till today, this is one of the debatable topic. See, some of the companies, they want to use only XPath and CSS selectors. Or some of the companies, they want to use only the built-in locators. If not, then go ahead with the CSS selectors like this. See, actually, when I worked with one of the Salesforce application, as per the client needs, they ask us to use first only this built-in locators. And then if it is not possible to use, then go ahead with either CSS or XPath. And the CSS and XPath also, the always first preference is given to the CSS. Then XPath. Okay. Whereas in some of the projects, they don't mind, like, which one you are using. And ultimate thing is identify the locator to perform the action. So no matter which one they are using, whether it is a built-in locator or the XPath or CSS selector and all, it doesn't matter. Okay. Especially some of the projects and some of the guys, they are looking for, okay, first start use only the built-in locators. Like that they will give. So you have to follow according to your project guidelines. Okay. So now see, these guys, they provided these built-in locators. Page dot get by role, get by text, get by label, get by placeholder, get by alt text. See, the important, all these methods are very, very important. Right.
Prem, you are not showing methods you are showing now, no, right?
No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
Okay, okay.
See here, I'm here. These are all the different kind of methods. Get by role, get by text, get by label, get by placeholder, get by alt text, get by title, get by test ID. These are all the different kind of built-in locators. Even whenever we try to use code gen option, code gen means using this code gen, we are doing record and play. That is one of the fundamental feature of any automation tool. In case of Playwright, we are using the code gen option. While doing recording also, first it is preparing the script based on this built-in locators only. If it is not possible to use these built-in locators, then they will go with either CSS or XPath. Okay, right. Okay, so let us see how to use these built-in locators methods. Okay. So let me create a new file. Built-in locators dot spec dot ts. Okay, built-in locators dot spec dot ts. Okay, so we'll see one by one. I have a file. Hey, what happened? How come? Okay, so let us see one by one. Built-in locators. It's very simple to use. Now see, I'm trying to open this application. This is open source Orange HRM application. Okay, right. So this application, we are providing this username and password. Okay, right. So now here, the first one is, we'll see with get by alt text. Get by alt text. Now see, if you see this description, get by alt text. We are locating an element, usually image, by its text alternative. Assuming that I'm identifying an element, especially image related things. Okay, examples point of view, they given this image under, it's not only image. You can take any element. In that element information, if you have like alt text, you can identify the element with get by alt text. If you see this application, I think this is the image. This is the image. They change the, okay, right click, inspect. See, this is the image, img tag, image tag. See, if you see this element information, it contained data -v src. Now see, there is something like alt text. That means alternative. So it contains an attribute called alt. If it contains alt attribute, you can use get by alt text. So as per the documentation, what these guys are saying is, okay, generally you will see this kind of attribute for the image related things. Examples, they're given it. But the same kind of alt text you will also see for other elements also. That depends upon the situation. So whenever they are trying to use this alt attribute, then using this alt value, you can identify the element under. Let's say I want to check whether this image is available or not. or whether this image is displaying or not. So now what I'm doing, first I'm trying to identify page.get by alt text. Get by alt text. What it returns? It returns locator. So here you can use either string or regular expression. Okay, so locate, it returns locate. So this image, it returns image. Okay, so once you get the element, I am trying to verify whether element is visible or not. So here expect, this is the locator, and there is a method called to be visible. There is a method called to be visible. That means I am checking whether element is visible on the page or not. So far you did not use, but is there any method to check whether element is visible or not? So this is the expected method, to be visible. Okay, so how to use? First, you are identifying the element. So what is this method? Get by alt text, right? So here you are going to use page dot get by alt text. Inside you are providing whatever the alt attribute value, that are alt attribute value you need to provide. So here you have this company branding. So that one you need to provide. So with this, you are identifying the element. So here let, I'm giving something like image. Okay. So once this locator is found, then I'm trying to check whether this element is visible or not. So you are going to use expect. So image dot, there is a method called to be visible. There is a method called to be visible. So it is checking whether image is there. So here the main thing, the main point what you need to understand is get by alt text. How you are going to use alt text? So based on the alt attribute, based on the alt attribute, you can identify the element. Okay, right. So what is the next method? Similarly, so here also the same thing. So there is one more method, is directly you are applying this is visible. Can you tell me what is this method, what it returns based on this?
True or false? Boolean.
So directly I am writing in the single statement. So it returns Boolean, either true or false. Either true or false. So I want to check whether element is showing or visible or not. So anyhow, this method is going to return true. So status is equal to true only. So here I can verify in the two ways. One is with the to be true, or there is a direct method called to be true. We already discussed these points. There is a method called to be. In that to be, you need to provide what exactly you want to verify. There is one more method called to be true. There is a direct method to check whether it is a true or not. There is a direct method called to be true. Okay. So here, this is direct expected method. And instead of writing like this, you can also write here is visible. But this is visible, what it returns? It is going to return Boolean. Either status is either true or false. Okay, right. So this is now. Get by placeholder. Get by placeholder. What is the description? Get by placeholder. What is get by placeholder? To locate an input by placeholder. You are identifying the element based on this placeholder. To locate an input by placeholder. So based on the placeholder attribute, you are identifying the element. If you say this application, okay, this is a username. On this username, normally I want to enter this admin. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to identify this text box based on placeholder. See, right now you are seeing this username text in the text box. That is called placeholder. By default, on the text box, if any text is showing, that is called placeholder. So now what we will do, the default text, we will clear it and then we will enter our own text. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to identify the element based on this placeholder. If you see this element information, generally this placeholder information, it contains for the input related elements. Okay, input. And now see, if you see this, there is an attribute called placeholder. There is an attribute called placeholder. So how would you do that? Page dot get by placeholder, and here what is the placeholder value? 1000. So take page dot get by placeholder, right? So here it is going to return locator, right? So on this locator, if I want to enter the text, then what is the method?
Fill.
Fill method. That's it. So here I'm giving admin. So you are identifying the element based on the placeholder attribute. So this is for username. I think similarly for password also the same thing. I think password field also it contains placeholder. Then admin. That's it. So get by placeholder. Using this placeholder attribute, you are identifying the element. You are identifying the. So you are not using XPath or CSS selectors. These are all the recommended built-in locators for the Playwright. Okay, right. Next, what is the third method? Get by row. Get by row. So what is the row? What is this, man? Login.
Button.
Button. Then what is this?
Text field. That is.
Text box. Similarly, this is also text box. Then what is this?
Image.
Image. So whatever the element is there, that element type is representing the role. So what is this? Quick guide.
Link. That is.
Link. Link. So what is this?
Checkbox.
Hey.
Radio button.
Radio button.
Radio button. Radio button. Sorry.
There you go. Then which one?
This is checkbox.
Okay. So what is this?
Text.
Checkbox.
Hey.
Text. Text.
Text means
Input.
right click, inspect,
Placeholder.
not placeholder.
Okay. Yes.
Right click, inspect. They mentioned some
Headline. Yeah.
head link is there. That's what I wanted to show. Okay, you will see. You will see. Okay, let us take this same application only. Let us log in. Admin 123. Okay. Right click, inspect. Now see something. What is this? H6. H6 means it's a header text. In the header text also, it is showing in different levels. I think this is the last level. That's why it is showing with H6. If it is H1, it is showing in the very big letters. So that means H, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, like this, they are representing header text. They are representing header text. So button, link, checkbox, radio button, image, header text. So all these are all the representing roles. All these are all the roles. Okay. So based on that role, you are trying to identify the element. Okay. Now see, how do you use this role? Page dot get by role. So this is very frequently people are trying to use it because it's very easy to use and get by role. Get by role. So which one you are using?
Button.
Button. So, button. So you have to specify like this button. See, on the page, if it contains only one button, then there is no issue under. Directly it is pointing to that element and then it is identifying the element. But assuming that if you have like a number of buttons. So if you are trying to use this syntax, what kind of error you will get?
We can
Yeah.
uh, console errors we will get because multiple buttons is there now. We can't go with single thing, so we need to group as an object.
Like,
Strict violation button.
right. You will get strict mode violation.
Yes.
So why you are getting strict mode violation? Because with this combination, you are identifying more number of elements. But you are trying to clicking on one button. But I am getting number of elements. On which element I want to click? The playwright is in the confusion state. So you will get strict mode violation. So now what I want to do is I want to make it unique. Okay, this is button. Okay. So now after that, here you need to provide the options. You need to provide the options. So generally, based on that text name, you are going to identify the element directly. So, okay. So here, what I'm doing is I'm providing the name. Name is equal to, what is the name of this button? Name of this button. Whatever the text is showing on that button. So login.
Login, yeah.
So here I'm just providing. So most of the guys, people are trying to use this built-in locator. It's very easy to use it. One is the role. Role means what kind of element it is, whether it is a button or text box or checkbox or what. It contains so many things. If you see this syntax, get by role. Now see, it is applicable for like alerts, buttons, caption, cell, checkbox. There are so many: grid, link, list, list box, list item, log, main, menu bar, menu. There are so many things which would don't use it, but they try to provide all the options, whatever it is possible. Of course, I know in my application, those things and all, it's not supported. But whereas in some of the web-based applications, they might be implemented. So directly they supported all those options. So all these are all the roles. All these are all the roles. So based on these roles, like even I think header is also, no, see heading. Right now, whatever, even image, figure, everything, dialogue, form, everything you can identify the element. So all these are all the roles. You can simply tell that like even what kind of element it is and what is the role of it. So to distinguish or to identify the element with uniqueness, so for that you are identifying with name, simple. Okay, right. So this is about role. This role can be applied to anything. Let's say if you say this application, so here there is something like forget your password. So how would you write? Page dot get by role. Okay, how do you write? It is a link, right?
Link, yes.
Link, and then use something like may colon forgot your password. If you say this description get by row, get by row. Now see inside there are so many things, and so you can use a number of things, and you can use different kind of options. You can use different kind of options. I think these guys they're providing some examples. Say now type example they given it H3 H3. This is a header text. So what is the role for this? What is the
Check.
for this? Eh. Hmm. What is the role? Now see heading. Okay, heading. Similarly, if it is checkbox, checkbox. If it is button, button. Okay. So here, suppose, let's say if there is a login button, it's showing with like all capital letters and small letters and all. If you want to ignore the case sensitive, if you want to ignore the case sensitive, you can use something like /i. I means ignoring. Okay. So here, how to use, let's say if I want to use it like this, then you can mention instead of using exact text, you can use and then I. I means ignoring the cases. So here simply you can write like this. So then it will ignore. So right now I am using regular expression pattern. Okay. Okay. Next is get by text. Get by alt text. That is what we have seen in the beginning. There is one more method called get by text. Get by get by text. In the name itself, it is there. You are identifying the element based on the text. Assuming that admin on to. Okay. Now see, this is the text. Or you can get any text of the element. Let's say this is the text. This is the text. I want to get the text. I want to get the text. See, based on this text, I'm trying to identify the element. So how would you write? Yeah, Jagdish.
Yeah, hi Prem, good morning. Actually, this is 7:30 p.m. class, like I'm trying to join for AM.
Yesterday I told you today we have class at 7 o'clock.
7. I did not. In the yesterday morning only said, Prem.
What?
7:30 a.m.
1 second, 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. So get by text. Get by text. So here I'm using dashboard. So that is the text which is present, right, on the application. The same thing. Using this text, I'm identifying the element. So for that, I'm using a method called get by text. Okay, page dot get by text. And then if I want to get the text, if I want to get the text,
Text
It's all
content.
test,
huh?
test content.
Text.
That's it. That's it. Text content. Okay, so you will get the text later. Whatever you like it, you can do that. So inside the get by text, we are providing text of the element. So if you see this documentation, get by text, page dot get by text, you can use either string or regular expression pattern. It allows locating element that contains given text. Again, this is also very frequently people are trying to use. If element contains text, based on that, simply they're trying to identify the element. So that's why, especially to identify the dynamic elements, the Playwright guys, they are recommending these methods instead of identifying the XPath or CSS selector based on the DOM structure and all. We are providing some kind of like recommended methods. These recommended methods are very powerful and you can start using it very in simple manner. That is what they are saying us. Okay, so based on the text, get by text. So whatever the text is there in between, you can locate by using text substring, exact string, and even regular expressions. Now see here, this guy, they are using a subword in the element structure. Let's say here, if you see this documentation, div in between div, actually this is hello world, complete word. They started with the div, hello they kept it here, and word they kept it again under this div. They created one more span tag. In between span tag they created. So if you want to use it, simply you can use word also. See what it is saying? You can locate by text substring, either it is a substring or complete string. Even in the regular expression also you can use it like this. Okay, so these are all the different kind of, so this is the syntax. So here these guys, they are using regular expression and they are ignoring the case sensitives. Okay, right. So it's very simple to use. So one of the answer to give it to handle the dynamic elements is, the best thing is prefer to use Playwright built-in locators. That is one of the answer. That is one of the answer. Okay. That depends upon the situation. Okay. Suppose if built-in locators are not recommended or if it is not possible to use it, then you can go ahead with either CSS or XPath. In the XPath also we have different kind of functions, especially to identify the elements in the dynamic way. Like, let's say in the attribute information also, if it is showing like with alphanumeric type. So these IDs are the attribute values are keep on changing at the time of executing. So there you are trying to use some different kind of functions, like starts with, ends with, contains, or sometimes you may need to identify the element based on the parent level or based on the siblings. You need to identify the elements. So it's not only one answer. The best answer is for the especially Playwright point of view, the always first prefer to use built-in locators. And again, depends upon the element structure and element information. If it is not possible to use, then go ahead with other approaches. Okay, so this is one of the common question what people are asking. Okay, we will discuss that point in detail. Okay, so this is get by row and get by text. And similarly, yes. Can I use this dashboard? We can identify the element by using row. Yes or no? Can I
Yes, Prem.
identify this element by using role? So what is the role of this? What is the role? What is the role of this? I think
Inspect, yeah, we need to inspect and heading. We have
I
to
think
see
it's a
at least.
heading. So based on that heading, you can identify. I think this application is responding very slow. I think. Now see, it's 6. It's a heading. So heading, comma, name is equal to dash. It's very simple. See, the same thing. And using that, I'm trying to print it. One is you can use text. One is role also. You can identify. I have written in 2 ways. The next is title. There is another method called get by title. There is another method called get by title. See, there is an attribute called title attribute. There is an attribute called title attribute. You will see one attribute called title. Based on that title attribute, you are identifying a particular element also. See, in the element information, for some of the elements, I think, okay, let us say, now see, this is the something like question mark symbol. I think this is the help button. I want to verify whether this help button is there or not. If you see this, element information, Is there any attribute called title? Yes. Title attribute. So based on this title attribute, you can identify the element. So for that, what is the element? What is the method? Page dot
Get by
get by
title.
right. Page dot get by title, and here I think it is helper. Help. So here you are going to identify the element based on the title attribute. Based on the title attribute. So here, let's say whether element is there or not. So here I am trying to use is visible, or you can directly verify in the assertion statement by using to be visible. Anything is fine. So, but here how to use this method? There is an attribute called title. Using this title attribute, you are identifying the element. Okay, right. The same thing. Page dot get by, and similarly, suppose if I want to use get by row, name is equal to, there is a question mark symbol, right? On the question, on the application, what it contains? This question mark symbol. Name, yes or no? If I want to use get by row, so here I'm just using like this. So these methods are very, very simple to use it under. So far, we practice with the XPath or CSS selectors. That is okay. But the Playwright guys, they recommended this methods under. So what they are saying is, these methods are very, very simple to use it for identifying the element also. That's why they are mentioning these are all the recommended methods. Okay. So let us check whether it is working or not. Go to this package.json. Built-in locators. Okay. So here you can mention built-in locators. Terminal, clear, npm run. The system is responding very slow today. Built-in locators. Perfect. Trying to execute one more time. Super. Okay. Right. And there are, what is it? Get by alt text, get by placeholder, get by role, get by text, get by title. And there are some more methods. I think 2 more methods are there. 2. One is these 2 methods. Get by label. How to use these get by labels. So let us take this website for the, because you don't see all the elements in the single page. Now see, get by label. See, this name, email, password, gender, date of birth. What do you call? This is
Labels.
this is a text box. This password, this is gender, date of birth. All these are all the labels. Based on this label, corresponding element needs to be identified. Let's say if it is gender, if I'm clicking on this gender, so I need to identify this. What is this? This drop down. Let's say if it is text box, based on this, corresponding password text needs to be highlighted. If you want to do it, then there must be a relation between this label and this text. Let's say if this is the checkout, see, actually here I'm clicking on this checkbox. Sorry, I'm clicking on this text. I'm clicking on this text. If I'm clicking on it, the corresponding checkbox is checking. I'm not directly clicking on the checkbox. I'm clicking on here and the corresponding checkbox is selected. And similarly, if I'm clicking on password, the below text box is highlighting. But if I'm clicking on name, the below text box is not highlighting. Of course, it is a label only, but based on this, it is not highlighting. So simple to use is, if it is a label, if you want to identify the element, whenever you are clicking on the element, whenever you are clicking on the label, the below element, the corresponding object will be highlighted. And see, even for email also, I cannot apply this get by label under. If I take this password, now perfectly I can use this. Now, if you go and see this element information, of course, password is the label. Password is the label. And for this label, there is a corresponding input object because it is a text, right? Input. Now see, a label for this attribute information, you are going to use it in the object information. Example, input password 1. This is the thing. And this we are trying to use it in the object. Now see this one. They are trying to use it as the ID. ID or some other attribute. Okay. So now then there is a relation between these two things. Similarly, if it is gender, I'm clicking on gender label, but below that element is highlighted. Okay. Right click, inspect. Now see, this is a drop down. This is a drop down. What kind of drop down it is? It is a static drop down because it is a select, right? It is a static drop down. In the static drop down, all the options are fixed. Whoever is developing this element, at that time they provided all the options under. Okay, this is a label. Now see, if you say this example form control select one, this label attribute information, they're trying to use it in the object. So then corresponding informations, they are using it. Then only they have this relations. And let's say if I'm clicking on date of birth, this date of birth, I'm not able to do that. That means based on this date of birth, I cannot select this date of birth field. And of course, it is a label, but I cannot identify this element. Okay. So if you say this code, I'm trying to clicking on the checkbox. Based on this label, I'm trying to clicking on the checkbox. And here there is something like employed on the right. See here, I'm clicking on this employed radio button. I'm clicking on this employed radio button. That means I'm clicking on this text, corresponding object is selected. Similarly, there is gender. In this gender, I'm trying to select the option called female. Okay, so let us check. Why two test cases? Okay. Let's do one thing. You can see the output await page dot wait for timeout. Here you can mention 3 seconds. Now see, employed, checkbox, all those things. Let us try. Can we identify or can we able to enter await page dot get by label assuming that email. This is my label, right? So here, let us do check whether it is.
That line returned after 48 line. After
Sorry.
39th line you written, right? Label you want to check, right? That is after URL open it to write it next before you write the script.
Okay. So you cannot identify the element for this email. Why? Because there is no relations. It's very simple to identify. Whenever you are selecting the label, below the corresponding element would be highlighted. So locator test get by label. So this is the problem. So locator fit. So such kind of elements you can't use it. So there must be some relations. So it's very simple to identify also. Whenever you are clicking on the label, below element is highlighted. Then those kind of elements you can simply use get by label and with this label text. That's it. Okay. Right. So this is get by label. Then what about, there is one more thing, that is get by test ID. There is one more, something like get by test ID. Take this website. For official documentation, get by label. Right click, inspect. So if you want to identify the element based on test ID, I think you should have data hyphen test ID. Data hyphen test ID. You should have an attribute called data hyphen test ID. Yes. Now see, this is the button. This is the button. I want to get the text. I want to get the text. So simply you can use get by text, this one also. And you can also use get by role also. But here, if I want to use test ID, you should have this data hyphen test ID. You should have this data hyphen test ID. If you see this documentation, get by test ID to locate an element based on data hyphen test ID attribute. Okay. So this element contains, I think there are 11 objects are there. So, but anyway, I am using this element. So data hyphen test. So you can use this attribute. Based on this, you can get the, or you can identify the element. So test ID text content the same thing.
Press.
System is responding very slow. Right. So these are all the different kind of built-in locators. See, actually, recently I have read somewhere. So, which locator strategy you need to follow? That means priority wise. Okay. So for that, there is one plugin called, even I did not use, I read somewhere. So there is a plugin called Locators Lab. Yes, Locators Lab Chrome extension. See, using this plugin for Playwright, what are all the topmost priorities? And for Selenium, which one it is recommended? And for Cypress, how to use it? So let's say you are identifying one element. For the Playwright, what are all the best approaches? For the Cypress, what are all the best approaches? Selenium, what are, so like this for WebDriver IO, what are all the different? So using this Locators Lab, you can identify the element under. Even the first time I am seeing this. So you are trying to add this add extension. Click on here. Okay, it's been added to Chrome. It is added to Chrome. Okay, so now take any website. Take this website. Let's say Orange HRM or any website. Okay. So assuming that I am identifying this username, inspect, The locator strategies are very, very important. Locator strategies are very, very important. See, there is an option called Locators Lab. Click on here. Is there any way to open move left? Okay. Now see here, it is showing different programming frameworks. Playwright. Suppose if it is Playwright. Now see, this is a test locator. See here. This is for the show related locator. This is for Selenium. See, the first priority, the first best priority is get by role. They given the recommended, which one is more recommended for the identifying the element. You can identify the element in different ways. Out of that, the best is get by role. The second priority is good. The next is good is name with CSS selected. Page dot locator name. And third one, that is also good by using placeholder. Okay type. Page dot locator. You can use this class name. Based on this class name, you can identify it. And similarly, OK type. And the name is also like good exp. It's a Fraggle. Using this absolute X path like this. It's very, very worst kind of thing. So like this, they are providing best and different options for each and every element. Each and every element. Okay. So now here, if you want to verify a particular text, you can write and check page dot locator you can use, or page dot get by role also you can use it. And here you can verify it. Now see, with this, there are totally 5 elements are matching. You have used page dot get by role button. With this, how many elements are matching? 5. So here you can mention name is equal to, sorry, not name. So here you can mention login. So I'm using this regular expression pattern. You can write it. I think get by role, the expression. Okay. here. Invalid locator format. Is there any syntax?
The curly brace is not closed, right, Prem? Curly brace.
Right. That's why it is giving like this. Yes. Now it is perfect. It's one element. I think this regular expression also will work. Exactly. You can give perfect. So there is, with this also combination, there are 5 elements. So this is one element. And what about the second element? Third, fourth, fifth. Somewhere it is present. Totally 5 elements are matching. But anyway, in that page, it contains only one element. So if you want to write the statement, and with that statement, whether you are able to identify or not, so that option also it is showing under. So on this, what are all the different kind of methods you can apply? So that is also it is displaying under. See how nice it is. The first time I am seeing it under, so I did not use it. What are all the best locators which is recommended? Suppose if you are writing the same thing in the Selenium, let's say if you are writing the same thing in the Selenium, so here how you can use it, the same element. Using the first one is by.name. This is the best. Driver.find element by.name. Okay. So there are other there are other things are there, like by.css selector, good, okay, fragile. So they're not recommending. Let's say if you are working with like Cypress. For the Cypress point of view, okay, name. Because Cypress is always using CSS selector. Of course, it supports XPath also, but always first preference giving it to the, no, by default, it is supporting only CSS selector. And it doesn't support like this kind of built-in locators also. Whatever the Playwright is providing, like that, such kind of methods also not there. Only the CSS selector. That's why it is showing as best. Okay. So here also they are using placeholder, but again they are using this CSS syntax. CSS, okay. XPath, that is also okay. But using absolute XPath positive, so these kind of things and all, it's a flag. So this is one of the best plugin. Okay, so we can utilize it as long as it is supporting. If it is not supported, we can't do anything. Okay, so for the identifying the locators point of view, which is the best one? So you can use this plugin and you can use it for the best strategy to identify the element. That means you can, of course, you can write it in different ways and all, but out of all that, like, which is the best one? So using this tool, you can identify it, the best things.
What is the tool name? I missed this one.
Labs locator. Labs locator.
Okay.
It's an extension for the Chrome.
Okay.
So using that, you can identify. If you take, let's say, forget password link. So anything. Anything you can say, forget password. The best, this is a good. What about best? Good, okay. Class, okay. Good, this is okay. Think what is the best one? This is by exactly. So if you want, you can use link also. Think if you want, you can write it. So this is a good one. There are two things. So and get by role also you can use it. So simply you can copy and paste it in your. So you can take best one or good one, and then you can use it in your test script. Okay. So recently I found this. Of course, it might be there, but I never know. I never used it in much. But after I saw that, okay, it's very useful. So this is about built-in locators. Okay. Yeah. So any doubts?
No, Prem.
Okay.